what you think when you get it home. I can only imagine the number of 5-star reviews that are going to come through.
And 57 already.
Wow, 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 wow. Okay. They won't let us spend another moment longer on it. It is spectacular. We're going to put 3 minutes on the clock to showcase one of Carol's all-time biggest sellers. You're looking at the Hamsa hand, you're looking at the evil eye, and you are looking at genuine diamonds. White diamonds, but with blue or champagne. So you can choose the blue diamond or the champagne diamond. There's only 225 of these, about 120 in each. It comes on an 18-inch necklace, and Carol, perfectly fitting for your 7th anniversary, that we should have what is such a special edition of your iconic symbols, the things that you've really put so much into.
I'm the queen of talismans and the queen of good luck charms. So whether it's the opal, which is about hope, or the eye, which is about the ultimate protection, the good luck eye, which is really called the evil eye, or the Hamsa hand, which is all about luck and protection and prosperity. Girls, if you're watching, this is my gift to you. HSN took literally $120 off my customer pick, best-selling diamond Hamsa and I. First of all, you're looking at over 1/2 of a carat of fancy colored diamonds. You've got white and blue in the blue, and you've got champagne and white in the champagne. Girls, okay, just think about this. Think about that open space and how important that is in the world of fine jewelry. I want you to think about the size of this piece. This is 1.5 inches long, okay? That's crazy. It's on a sterling silver, beautiful chain. What does the eye mean when it's inserted into the Hamsa hand? The eye is the ultimate protection in every single culture in the world for thousands and thousands of years. The eye is the ultimate protection from that look that somebody gives you, that evil eye. This eye is like, thanks, you can take your bad energy back. I don't want it. You've all heard, I'm sure, of the evil eye. It's actually a good luck charm.
Right.
The Hamsa hand. The Hamsa hand is the universal symbol of femininity, and it is known across the world as symbolizing God's goodness and blessings. It's often called the hand of God, or the hand of Miriam in Judaism, the hand of Mary in Christianity. Again, it is believed to be protection, good luck, and prosperity in every single culture. And now we're doing it in diamonds. And when the eye is suspended within the Hamsa hand, it is believed to be the ultimate. There can be no greater form of protection and luck and sparkle and diamonds, and this is only the coolest piece of jewelry you're ever gonna own.
The lowest appraised value came in at $549, $549. Our price is $129.90 for the final few folks that can order it. Good luck. Again, that was saved for just us tonight.